Yeah, the final pieces, Ros, are starting to fall into place around exactly what the next government will look like. We already knew that Donald Trump, of course, is the next president. The Senate has been won by Republicans. We can now say for sure that the House of Representatives, the Republicans will control that as well. The Republicans officially won their 218th seat. That is the slimmest of majorities a short time ago. So here's where the numbers are right now. Republicans 218, Democrats 208, so a 10-seat margin at the moment with 9 seats still in doubt. So the GOP are ahead among those 9 seats in doubt, ahead in 4 of them. So maybe for practical purposes, you're looking at a majority of 5 to 10 seats for the Republicans, which is not a massive majority. It's not much bigger. In fact, it's a pretty similar sized majority to what they hold in the current Congress going into next year. And the other thing that is disrupting their numbers a little bit at the moment is, as Carrington Clark was just reporting, Donald Trump is tapping several members of the House to join his cabinet. Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, Mike Waltz as the National Security Advisor, Elise Stefanik as the UN Ambassador. That's 3 members of the House that will have to give up their jobs, resign from the House, reducing the margin of the majority that the GOP have in the House until those seats can be filled in a special election. They'll probably be won by the Republicans, but they will need to hold a special election, and that will take time, and that will mean that the Republican Party has a very, very narrow majority in the House. And it is something that they are clearly concerned about in the first few months of the Trump presidency.
So what does that mean for his administration and his agenda?
Yeah, well, we should remember so first of all, having control of the House will make it far easier for the Republican Party to legislate. They control all branches of government. The Supreme Court has a Conservative majority as well. So that is going to make it far easier for Donald Trump and the White House to enact their agenda, to get the kinds of bills they want to see passed through Congress. The question mark, though, is when the GOP has a really narrow majority. That's what they've had in this term of Congress. And if you remember back to when they had to, the dramas that party has had, keeping it together, electing a speaker, they kicked out the last speaker, and it took vote after vote after vote after vote for the Republican Party to settle on their preferred candidate. They are not a united party. The question is, with control of the White House, with control of so much of power in Washington, will they pull it together? Will they be able to be a bit more disciplined to get their agenda through and their legislative agenda through? And as we get a clearer idea of who is going to hold power, what are the different factions and caucuses within the Republican Party, who will be wielding that power, and what exactly does the agenda sort of look like going forward? So on paper, at least, this puts Donald Trump in a very powerful position. The practicalities of governing will then tell us exactly how much they can achieve with that power.
OK, what's happening with the popular vote, Casey?
Yeah, this is looking like it's going to be the first time in 2 decades that a Republican candidate has won the popular vote in a presidential election. They've won more votes than the Democrats. Donald Trump has won, it looks like, millions more votes than Kamala Harris. The final numbers are still being counted. It takes a very long time to process, especially in states like California, where there's lots of postal votes. But as we've been seeing more counting, we have seen that the margin of victory in the popular vote has been shrinking. It looks now like Donald Trump might win the popular vote by something like 1.5%, maybe a little bit less. That's if you project out and do a bit of estimation on what does seem to be left. So it's not a massive victory. I don't think we can be saying that this was a landslide victory by Donald Trump. He's won the right number of votes in the right places. He's won the national popular vote, but not by the kinds of levels that Barack Obama did or Joe Biden did 4 years ago. But he has won, and that is very significant for a Republican candidate who they have struggled to do that in the past couple of decades.